Store-wide, 8 million in markdowns on guitars, amps, drums, keyboards, and tech. Over 300,000 items marked down. Massive savings on brands like Fender, Gibson, Yamaha, DW, Ford, Shure, and more. But remember, each location and GuitarCenter.com has its own selection, and it's first come, first served. Guitar Center's July clearance kicks off now.
All right, you download the Unleashed podcast. That means you know the drill here. Every single thing goes. All the four-letter words and all the bullshit flying around up inside my skull. I'm going to open up an uncensored can of audio wolf ass right after I take care of your fitness needs with a little bit of help from my close personal friend, Mr. Diamond Dallas Page and his DDP Yoga. Hey, folks, y'all dig this. The dude developed this program for people like himself who need a proven low-impact workout that gets results. And DDP Yoga definitely gets results. It's a cardio workout that's easy on your joints. It's low impact. Ain't no running or lifting with DDP Yoga, but this program builds strength and flexibility and it burns fat. And DDP Yoga is designed to help people of all ages and all skill levels. He's got beginner, intermediate, and advanced level workouts. You start where you're comfortable and work up to the next level when you're ready. DDP says this all the time. This is your workout. Make it your own. Because you listen to the Steve Austin Show, DDP's giving y'all a great deal on the Max Pack. And all you have to do is go to ddpyoga.com/Austin. Here's what you get when you order the Max Pack. You're going to get 15 workouts. You get nutrition guides. You get recipes. You get a grid chart to track your workouts. And you get a poster to help you remember the 12 core positions that make up DDP Yoga. So take advantage of this special deal, folks. Go to ddpyoga.com/Austin. That's ddpyoga.com/Austin. One more time, because this is the real deal. ddpyoga.com/Austin.
The following program is a podcast1.com production. He started in a small town in Texas. Worked his ass off to become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time.
We're going to take care of business tonight, and that's the bottom line.
And now he's dominating the world of on-demand audio. And he's doing it for the working man.
This is a damn good outlet for me to spew the bullshit off my brain.
Yeah! This is the Steve Austin Show. Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show Unleashed. I'm sitting here on the set of Broken Skull Challenge. We're shooting season 3 right now. Man, I tell you what, we had a badass group of people come through here today. Some young ladies who came here looking for a challenge, and that's what we gave them. They totally kicked ass. I'm going to move on. Ain't going to flap my gums too much about it, but that's where I'm at. Out here on the set, out here in hog heaven. Living in my damn trailer, waking up every morning, hitting the iron, putting these people through the paces, getting my cardio on for work, taking Buck, the Kawasaki Mule on the ride. That's what I'm going to do when I finish this damn open. I'm going to get on old Buck, go on top of that ridge, and I'm going to kick it. Because I done got my podcast done. I don't have to sweat, try to grind, and try to find material. Because today I'm going to be talking to Johnny Mundo of Lucha Underground. You know him back in his WWE days as John Morrison or Johnny Nitro. He's been kicking ass, lighting it up over there at Lucha Underground on El Rey Network. They got a season finale that's coming up on August the 5th. We're going to talk about that. We're going to shoot the breeze about everything under the sun. He is my guest today on this podcast. He came by the house. He's in awesome shape. It's the first time I've ever really sat down and talked to John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, at any length of time. And the dude got a good head on his shoulders, and I've just been really impressed of how improved his work has become in the past few years. Well, now that he's on Lucha Underground, I'm seeing his current work. And one of the things that really stuck out at me was his right hand. He's always had a pretty decent working punch. He's really taken that thing to a whole new level. I got on YouTube, and I was looking at a bunch of stuff and doing my research and watching some of the skits that they did, some of that backstage stuff. But one of the things that he does, it was in ring. It was shooting an angle, I guess, with Dario Cueto. And, man, he had something wrapped around his right hand, and he drills that actor right between the eyes, right on top of the nose, right there in the sweet spot. And you talk about a damn good working punch. It looked like $1,000,000. And I wondered, because I saw this footage after I talked to Johnny Mundo at the house when he came by 316 Gimmick Street. But wondered what that Dario Cueto was thinking when Johnny was about to light into him with a live round. Because, there's a dude that is a classically trained actor, and he's awesome at what he's doing. I mean, he's a great general manager or whatever you call him. I forgot what they call him. But anyway, Johnny's got a hell of a working punch. If you get on YouTube, check out some of this stuff. And I got a chance to watch him go an hour with a cat named Prince Puma, and I watched a bunch of his other matches out there. But anyway, he's turning in great work. He's in great shape. Hopefully those guys down there at Lucha Underground get lit up for season 2, because it's always good to see the guys and gals have another place to work. He's my guest today. We're going to hear from him in just a second. Hey, I got a couple little BS stories for you to talk about. I've been out here training hard, and I knew that I need to start working my goddamn core. And, during my whole wrestling career, after I got through playing organized football in 1987 with North Texas State, I was a Division II college back in the day. And we'd get through the process of the weightlifting program, and you'd always have to do some sit-ups or whatever. But ever since I got out of college and organized, weightlifting program and was out on my own, I can probably count off 20 times I really ever trained midsection or did any kind of crunches, sit-ups, or whatever. I ain't never trained my core, so I got the big idea. I'm out here working with some of these best athletes in the United States of America who are descending upon the Broken Skull Challenge to come down here and show what they got. And I got some badasses. Everybody that comes out here is in shape. So, I'm inspired by that, but also just inspired by the fact that, I need to start working my damn core. Because out of all my body parts, that's probably my weakest area, because I never have fucked with it. I probably in my life have probably done altogether maybe 2,000 crunches, and that might be overestimated by about 500. So I figured, what the fuck, dude? You ain't got nothing to lose. The best you can do is start out. So I started out, man. I had my little boombox over there on the ground. I had some jams going. Can't remember what radio station I had it on, Pandora, but I was playing some damn good metal. No, I was listening to Bullet Boys. I was listening to Bullet Boys radio on Pandora. Some of that old shit, that good shit. I started off with 10 minutes of planks, going on 30 seconds off, 30 seconds. Then I started doing crunches on for 30 seconds, off for 30 seconds. So I made 20 minutes of that. Then I said, fuck it, dude. I said, you're on the ground already. 20 minutes of abs is pretty good for a start. I just got to do the consistency and start, stringing the workouts together. I'm never missing a workout on the weights. I've got to string together my core workouts. And I said, while you're down here, you're fixing to do a DDP yoga read, so why don't you just kind of go through the paces and start stretching? So I did. I tell you what, man, I put my damn legs apart and tried to touch my damn toes and failed miserably. I'd already got smoked by doing them planks and them crunches. I got the hurdlers stretch. Y'all remember that old hurdler stretch back when you was in school, or some of you young cats that are still in school? Do that shit, man. I damn near tore a hamstring getting in the hurdler stretch. So I was thinking, God damn, DDP Yoga's got this fucking beginner level. I mean, I need like the mongoloid idiot level for myself. Fuck. I'm not even at the beginner level. Once I get my stretch down, what I did was I did abs and I did my stretching. It took me about 38 minutes because I had my damn stopwatch going on my iPhone. So I'm going to do this every single day. I am giving you my word on this. And for those of you that want to join along with me, then you can start with me too. So tomorrow, or when you get this podcast, do 20 minutes of core, whatever it is. I'll keep filling you in on what I'm doing, because I'm just going to alternate core exercises every day I do them. And I'm going to do my 15 to 20 minutes of stretching. I was also inspired by Rob Van Dam, because Rob was kind of a guy, he just loved stretching and started stretching, and that turned into one of his kind of like hallmarks, one of his calling cards. And the dude was crazy flexible and very athletic. Of course, we know the career that he's had. He's probably going to go down to the Hall of Fame. But here's a cat that he just loves stretching, and man, he took it to the nth degree. He's like a 6-time black belt in stretching. So I was also thinking about him when I fired up this inspiration of working on my core and then doing the stretching. I tell you what, you talk about core, when you sit there talking to Johnny Mundo and an 8-pack walks to your damn front door, it kind of inspires you. Don't get me wrong, nutrition is a part of it. I'm doing this because I need the core strength. So I tell you what, it was a damn near rib. Me, my fat ass on the ground, doing sit-ups, crunches, planks, and then going through some stretching motions. You talk about humbling. It was very humbling. I remember we had a gal come out last year on Broken Skull Challenge. She's from right down the road. And she was doing 100 burpees a day. And I asked her on Twitter, I said, why are you doing 100 workouts a day? Well, it's just one of the things that they decided they were going to do. So I said, hey, man, I'll jump in on that. I'll do 100 burpees a day. And so, man, I went in my garage, and I had the garage door down because I don't need to, goddamn everybody see me trying to do a bunch of damn burpees. Man, I'll tell you what, I did about 8 of those motherfuckers and blew up a burpee. Get on YouTube and look up a burpee. Looks simple as a motherfucker, doesn't it? But when you done beat up with steel chairs for 15 goddamn years, rode around cars, drank gallons and 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 gallons of whiskey and beer and vodka, and you jump down and try to do 100 burpees in one session, they'll kind of kick your ass. I made it through the 100. I had to take some extended breaks, but I tell you what, that was a humbling motherfucker. So anyway, I'm out here trying to get my ass in better shape. I've got world-class athletes coming down here, giving it hell out here on the damn course. And I tell you what, it's going to be interesting. Guess what? I'm going to have a visitor coming out here at the Broken Skull Challenge. Ted Fowler, 361, is going to load his ass up in his pickup truck and drive all the way from Rockport, Texas, out here to Los Angeles, California, and pay us a visit. I've been telling Ted forever, 8 damn years. Hey, dude, one of these days you need to bring your ass out there and come see us. Well, the motherfucker's going to come see us. And I tell you what, I pulled a fast one on him the other day. I said, hey, dude, and we talked about this on the podcast. I said, man, if you're going to come out to L.A., can you please bring my damn Kawasaki dirt bike? I've had that bike for 5 or 6 years, and it just sits in my barn. I've got a place to ride it out here in California. So, of course, Teddy loaded up that bike. He needed my help, but he didn't wait, and he busted out that back windshield in his truck. So, anyway, old Ted Fowler's driving down from Rockport, Texas, all the way to Los Angeles, stay over at my house for a couple of days, and then we're going to come out here to set and live off the land over here at the Broken Skull Challenge compound, and you'll get a chance to hang out, and I'll get my dirt bike finally in my hands in California. So the working man, the man with prices higher than giraffe pussy, is fixing to make a road trip, and he's coming to Los Angeles, California. And while he's here, hopefully we'll have a chance to just sit down and shoot the shit and knock out a couple of podcasts. As you guys know, I've been hankering to have some material and some guests. Luckily enough, this past weekend I went down there and talked to old Rob at El Segundo Brewing, and of course Johnny Mundo came by the house, and that was a great guest. I'm going to get into my conversation with him. It was great talking to him. He's in a great spot in his life right now. He's got a lot of things going on. He's got some pursuits in the world of acting that you hear about. We'll talk about his in-ring stuff, and of course we're going to talk all things Lucha Underground and their season finales August 5th. You know what, gang? I've been flapping my gums about all these fucking t-shirts coming to BrokenSkullRanch.com and ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin. Well, shit, I'm finally going to release one of the damn things because I don't know when the Broken Skull Challenge is going to make air. So today, as you listen to this podcast, the new property of Broken Skull Ranch t-shirt is available at ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin and BrokenSkullRanch.com. It's a property of Broken Skull Ranch shirt. It's pretty damn cool. It's a badass basic shirt, but I think you're going to dig it the most. But before we get into the body of this podcast, I got a cool opportunity to tell you about it. You can make some serious cash by becoming an Uber driver. Yeah, Uber's that phone app that connects riders with drivers. I've used Uber, and the drivers who've given me rides all have great stories to tell about loving their gig and the money they're making. They also say how much they dig being their own boss. They love setting their own hours, and they really love the great money they make driving with Uber. Anytime they feel like driving, they just open up the app and go to work. And it's easy to start with Uber too. You just need a car and a license. It's flexible hours. You choose when you want to drive and for how long each time. Work a few hours or a few rides. It's your choice. And that makes Uber a great option for parents. You can work around your family's busy schedule. And it's a great option for students too. You can make some extra cash in between classes. Driving with Uber is great for anyone who wants to make money. And now's the prime time to cash in driving with Uber. You'll thank me for telling you how to get paid every single week, and you never know. I could be the one getting in your car when you drive with Uber. So I know you got a car. I know you got a license. Put them to work. Start earning serious life-changing ducats today. Sign up to drive with Uber. Visit drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com. I'll spell it out for you. Drivewithuber.com.
Yo, it's your boy KFC, and this is mail time. We call it the laziest hour of your day to help you get through your 9-to-5 job. But in reality, it's just unfiltered access to the mind of two idiots and stupid things coming out of their mouths. Whether you're sitting at your desk, commuting in the morning, at the gym, whenever you listen to two idiots rambling, you'll always feel better about yourself. It's mail time. New episodes are available every Wednesday for download on the Podcast One Network.
Mark's in here rolling sound. It's Sunday afternoon. I'm getting ready to head out to Broken Skull Challenge compound where we're going to bring in another group of girls, and competition's hot and heavy out there. Hey, man, last week I got a chance to talk to the showrunner, executive producer of Lucha Underground on El Rey Network. Their season finale is on August 5th. And Johnny Mundo had reached out to me a while back about being on the podcast, but time wasn't right. And I said, man, that would be a great time to talk to Johnny Mundo, formerly John Morrison, former Johnny Nitro. You got a lot of last names. You've heard of people, the man of 1,000 holes. This is the guy with the man of 1,000 last names. Johnny Mundo, welcome to 316 Gimmick Street. It's good to see you, man. You look like $1 million.
Good to be seen. $1 million, $1 million pesos.
We better use.
I guess $1 million is worth more than the pesos, huh?
Hey, man. Okay, but first off, physical appearance. You still look good. You're 35 years old, right?
Right.
What are you doing right now, dude? I saw some videos of you doing some push-ups, some stuff against the wall. Obviously, I know you got that parkour background. Crazy athletic. What is for a shoot? What is your fitness routine? I know you do that stuff.
So, I mean, I actually have a whole fitness product that I created. It's called Out of Your Mind Fitness. It's a functional training regimen, and it's a lot of body weight exercises using weight equipment for assistance rather than resistance. And I'd say I do that exact program 6 days a week for an hour to an hour and a half. It's like resistance training, like lifting weights. In addition to that, I usually do some kind of skill-based training 5 times a week. Whether that's
what?
Like boxing, MMA. I train sometimes downtown with your buddy Josh Barnett.
I was wondering, you, before we rolled sound, you said you live downtown now.
Yeah, and his spot over there, down there at Tap Out is a great place. And yeah, if you're going to train MMA, he's the guy to learn from.
You're damn right, man. That's a big bad dude.
And so usually like the weight training and some kind of skill-based thing, and the skill is more like training cardio. So if it's MMA or boxing or parkour or some kind of stunt choreo, that's usually just what happens with what I'm doing based on my schedule.
Okay, but for cardio, like what? You like doing?
So literally, like if
sprints.
If I'm training MMA, that'll be my cardio.
Okay.
So if I'm in the octagon at Tap Out for a couple hours, like some of it's skill-based, but then we'll just roll live. And if it's like a half hour of like trying to tap somebody out or not get tapped out, actually,
dude, let
me just say about 15 minutes is all I
need. But still, that is very intense. I never knew you was into the MMA stuff.
Well, I don't think I'm ever going to be like competing in MMA.
Right.
But I was a high school wrestler or college wrestler, and it's like I rolled jiu-jitsu in college for a little bit. It's something that I like to do because it's more interesting than running on a treadmill.
How far did you get at the high school and collegiate level?
I mean, I was a CAF champion here, born and raised, team captain like a junior and senior year in high school up in Palos Verdes Peninsula. Yeah. And I wrestled for only 1 year at UC Davis, which is D1.
Right.
But I ended up not having really bad knee injuries, but I tore my meniscus on both knees and had 2 surgeries back to back at the end of my first year. and it was just enough to bump me off my. I had like the eye of the tiger. You know, I was not partying, not drinking, nothing except lifting weights and training for wrestling my first half of my freshman year of college, and then after those 2 surgeries, it just bumped me off that track, and I started like going out having a good time, and I really wanted to get into stunt fighting. I didn't really identify that I wanted to do pro wrestling at that time, but when I left collegiate wrestling, I started doing kung fu, jiu-jitsu, and gymnastics because I was trying to prepare for a career in stunts, and that kind of just took over.
What made you want to pursue the stunt work? Just a love of movies?
Yeah, I mean, for part of the reason I started wrestling in high school was because I was a huge wrestling fan, and then I was always a huge fan of Jackie Chan, and you know, like good old Predator, Die Hard, Bloodsport, those kind of movies. And I think I was a film major also at UC Davis,
right?
So I wanted to produce and star in action films.
But you had another major too,
geology.
Geology. Now, what were you gonna do with that?
That was when I was pretty idealistic. I thought that geologists were kind of like Indiana Jones, you know, like going to exploring places, finding gold mines and stuff. And when I got into it, it's actually really complicated. You have to take chemistry, advanced calculus, and a lot of this exploration now is like there's no gold mines that haven't been discovered. Like the stuff is seismic exploration, so you have to set charges and look for like oil shale like deep beneath the ocean, which still sounds cool, but it's not like you're on a tank.
Not like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be in a lab doing a lot of calculations or analyzing soil sediments. And for some reason, when I started getting into the actual work of what a geologist did, it wasn't what I had thought. It wasn't as creative and fulfilling and outdoorsy.
So did you end up finishing college?
Yeah. So I applied for Tough Enough 2 my senior year,
right?
And I didn't make it, and I got rejected from Tough Enough 2, and literally graduated June 14th. I walked. June 15th, I was in Denver for Tough Enough 3, and it was like the final round of acceptance. And I found out that they accepted me like a week after.
So you did get the degree in film?
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're starting to pursue some of that now.
Yeah, it was always something that I
what I had on the back. I mean, because you know what? And people say, well, they teach you about film. No, well, I've acted a little bit, and you're getting more into that. So, what did they actually teach you as a filmmaker?
So, that's a very good question, and I feel like you could almost just teach yourself mostly what you need to know. In college, my major was film aesthetics and culture. So I was watching like old Japanese movies, like German movies. You study German expressionism. You study like the new wave, like movement in French cinema, old Western movies, all these different things. And a lot of it is like theory. And I feel like sometimes in school they're training you to be more of a film critic, and that isn't exactly what I wanted anyway. What I wanted was to be more of a creative guy, like writing stories, making
But this film degree wasn't exactly filmmaking.
No. It was,
which is kind of deceptive for me, because I'm thinking, okay, you're a film major, you're learning how to make movies, but not the case.
It was as close as I could get at UC Davis.
Right.
If I was at UCLA, I could have done filmmaking, I could have done TV production, but they didn't really have a lot of options at UC Davis. It's more of an agriculture school.
Right.
If you want to be a winemaker or a geologist, it would have been perfect, or an engineer. And I didn't really decide I wanted to do film until I switched majors 2 years in.
Okay, now as we sit here and talk, you're 35 years of age, and reading about you and just doing the short amount of research that I could do and talking to you, I know you're now currently taking acting classes.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time, would you would you have done drama in high school, and would you have taken more, or would it be theater of the arts, which is called when you go to acting school?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But would you have gone down that road, knowing what you know now, and having worked on some lower budget stuff?
Well, first of all, I don't think I would change anything because I'm pretty happy with how it worked out. And I also, I took some acting classes in high school, and as part of my film major, I took maybe 6 different acting classes at UC Davis, and did a couple of the smaller productions, just the plays that they had there. And no, I don't think I would have changed anything.
Well, you're currently, I was reading that you're taking some more acting classes to help you with promo work.
Absolutely. Okay. So I studied with Howard Fine for a while.
Oh man, he's wonderful.
When
did you study with him?
From right when I left, the end of 2011, I left WWE, and then between 2012, 2013, I was in Howard's studio, and now whenever I get an audition or if I book a role, I'll go back there and coach a little bit. And I'd say there's a guy named Hank Bearings that I'm actually going to go to after this to work on an audition. And another coach I have is a guy named Joseph Perlman. And all these guys it's like learning from different people. Like Howard Fine is a lot of Uta Hagen, like a lot of comparison type, finding like similes from your childhood to compare stuff to. Joseph's is like a much more practical approach for how to prepare to actually deliver on set. And Hank is good at identifying like specifically what's interesting about you, and if you're not doing that in a role, how to bring that out, how to make that performance more interesting, but still be honest about it. So all those different people have different approaches. It's kind of nice to spread out and learn from different people.
Hey man, let's talk about now your incarnation as Johnny Mundo, because you've been with Lucha Underground now for about a year. You guys are on for season 2.
So yeah, season 1 is in the can. We've shot it 39 episodes, and like you said, the season finale of Lucha Underground is August 5th. I have a match with Alberto Del Rio that I think everyone should go out of their way to see. It's an awesome match. Alberto, everyone knows, super talented, and Johnny Mundo, super talented too.
Dude, you're turning into me. I saw a lot of your work in WWE because I was there, but I was also doing my own thing, and then I left. You were still there.
Oh, let's sidetrack for 1 second. Do you remember calling me one time? Like, I had a match with Jeff Hardy, and you saw it on TV, and you called me, and just to talk shit, talk about the match. Like, at that time I rode that loop with Miz, Matt Hardy, and Ken Anderson, and I don't know if you know this or not, but Ken Anderson does an awesome impersonation of you.
Yeah.
And so that whole ride, we were doing Stone Cold impersonations.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, we got to the hotel after like laughing and having a good time in the car, and you called and you're like, "Hey, John Morrison." I was like, "Oh, hey Ken, what's up, brother?" And I thought you were Ken for like, I want to say like 2 minutes or 3 minutes before it dawned on me that it was really you.
Yeah, but every now and then I'll see something that someone does or whatever that resonates with me, or I see that they're getting a grasp of things, so I'll call them out of the blue. And so, yeah, I do remember that. But, hey, man, and watching, I'm watching right now. I guess this was one of your first matches with Prince Puma, because the air date on this was 10/29/2014. Was this your first match back after a 3-year layoff? This is a hell of a damn match.
I've been working, and I still do. I still work independent wrestling shows, but not nearly as full time as I had been on the road. I haven't worked a full schedule until Lucha Underground, and that is one of the first like matches that I had been in quite a while.
Because Vampiro and Striker are talking a little bit about ring rust, but really there's no ring rust here. One of the things that I noticed in watching this match, first of all, your work here in Lucha Underground to me is much more polished and way further down the road than your work was in WWE. And then also, man, Jesus Christ, I guess you guys, and that, what was the match called where you and Prince Puma wrestled for? Was it
the Iron Man match, the all night long match?
Yeah, all night long. Yeah, it was all night. Because you go into Dario Cueto's office and he's got the proposition for you.
Right.
I love the way those things are shot. Tell me about that, because that's about as close to acting as you're going to get without acting. I mean, because y'all spin, and talking to Eric Van Wagenen, it's a television show. And, man, you show up there in character. How was it working with that guy?
With Luis Dario Cueto?
Yeah.
I think that guy really anchors the whole show. He's so talented.
He's very, very talented.
And it's exactly like acting. It's like being on set. I mean, you got lines, and they have a little bit of flexibility with the lines, but I would say not as much as a promo in the ring, which has got to be more bullet points, and you just paraphrase because you don't know how people are going to react to you.
Right.
But these aren't for a live crowd. This is like filming a TV show.
Exactly.
So you have lines, and they cover it from different angles, which means you can't be changing what you're saying every time.
Oh, but in that scene, I mean, they'll come from Dario's perspective. You just see his hands in the shot with you in the background. I mean, it's just good stuff. I love the sunglasses that you're wearing. How long does it take you guys to knock those out?
And that's another thing. I'm amazed at how fast they get through those. Because they're expensive, it's expensive to shoot that way. They're usually running like a 2-camera setup, and they're shooting on a Lexus, I think, which is usually the same type of cameras that you see Ray Donovan or any like big prime time like TV shows shot on. And they don't have a ton of time to be shooting these things. So the one you're talking about now, where I'm in Cueto's office, I think we shot that whole thing in 2.5 hours.
Right.
But we also shot it in English and Spanish.
Right. That's what I've been hearing.
We have to do the whole conversation and get my coverage in English, and then as soon as we get it, they're like, all right, Spanish. So then I have to reset the cameras.
Okay, now talk to me about you speaking Spanish. Because I was talking with Eric. He said you can work your way through this stuff, right?
Well, I mean, I grew up in Los Angeles,
right?
And
I grew up in Texas, in South Texas, and surprisingly, I don't speak any Spanish.
I also dated a Mexican girl for a long time, so I learned a bunch of swear words from her dad.
Yeah. So you know the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were able to adapt.
So I took Spanish 4 years in high school. I lived in Spain for a summer in college, and I wish I'd partied less and learned Spanish a little bit better while I was over there. But all those things kind of just, I think they're somewhere deep in my brain. Like all those the words are there, kind of.
Right.
And being backstage in the locker room, a lot of the guys don't even speak English very well.
Right.
So putting together matches with Aerostar, for example, in Spanish. And it's just, I think it's just the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Oh, absolutely. When repetition comes, there's on-the-job training and repetition, leads to being more efficient at it.
And I've tried to make a point of, speaking in Spanish rather than having my voice dubbed.
Right.
And at the beginning, I was clunkier. And there was a couple, I did a sit-down interview with Vampiro, and I just had to have him have cue cards because that was like a 5-minute conversation. Right. And for the shorter things, yeah.
Okay.
So that one I had to do in Spanish, and that one I needed cue cards for.
Okay, I watched the English version, but I enjoyed that. The National Academy of Sports Medicine is looking for people who want an exciting career in the fitness industry where you wake up every day doing something you love. National Academy of Sports Medicine trainers are improving people's lives by helping them reach their health and fitness goals. And believe me, the demand for trainers is huge. Imagine waking up every day excited to go to work, not to a job, but to a rewarding career. How many people can really say they love their gig? Imagine getting paid to stay in shape while helping others reach their fitness goals. Becoming a National Academy of Sports Medicine trainer means setting your own hours. It means getting the opportunity to work in health clubs, sports clinics, and corporate wellness. Do what you truly enjoy and get paid for it. Ain't no better time than now to get started on your certification with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. Plus, NASM guarantees you'll land a job as a personal trainer within 60 days of earning your CPT certification or your money back, guaranteed. Go to myusatrainer.com for a free 14-day trial of their fast and fun online program. That's myusatrainer.com. myusatrainer.com. One more time, myusatrainer.com. Restrictions apply. Visit myusatrainer.com for details.
Steve Austin, Unleashed.
Okay, let's talk about Johnny Mundo, the character, versus John Morrison or Johnny Nitro or all the names that you have.
Yeah.
Who and what is Johnny Mundo? How did you come up with that character? And working with those 3 acting coaches that we just referenced, how did you apply any of those learnings into what you do now, just from a presentation standpoint of the character?
I haven't really changed that much between John Morrison and Johnny Mundo. I mean, the
same mannerisms.
The primary reason for the name switch is just Lucha Underground is trying to own everybody's names,
right.
And I don't personally own John Morrison. If I did, I would have used that same name probably.
Right.
It's kind of annoying to constantly be switching names, and then every interview.
But I dig the Mundo. I just like the way it sounds.
So I do too.
But anyway, back to you.
And they wanted my name originally to be Johnny World for Lucha Underground,
right? And
I thought World would be hard to chant, and Mundo is just World in Spanish.
Yeah, dude, I dig it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically the character is like taking elements of who I am with the volume turned up as most wrestling characters should be, and Johnny Mundo is a rock star type personality, like a movie star type guy. And when I came in as a babyface, I just tried to keep the confidence there, but not the narcissism. And then I've always found when you turn heel, you just get to play a lot more, you get to turn the narcissism up. You get to start making fun of people. Your shit doesn't stink all of a sudden, and I think you discover stuff about yourself in the character
But there's also that freedom there to fall on your face and not have to worry about it. As a baby face, you screw up, you blow a high spot, you do something wrong. You're held accountable because you're supposed to be, damn near perfect.
Right.
But as a heel, man, to me, more freedom for experimentation and leeway within the character.
And especially in Lucha, because there's so much precision and so many acrobatic moves. Like when I turned heel in Lucha Underground, I was like, thank you, because it's hard to keep up with Prince Puma and Phoenix, and these guys are in their 20s and they can do pretty much anything and everything. And for me to keep up with them as a babyface was interesting and fun. But the pressure's off a little bit because now it's just
a heel.
Their asses.
So now
I keep up in a different way.
Are you considered a Rudos now?
Yeah.
Rudo, is that the correct name?
Rudo is the correct term for heel in Mexico.
Okay, and Technico would be the babyface. Okay, man, I was just sitting there watching the match with you and Prince Puma, and then, of course, the all-night match, and there's a difference in that match. And was that because of the heel turn, why you're so much more aggressive in that second bout?
That was it, yeah.
Because, man, first of all, I didn't see any ring rust here, and like I said, in this match, your work is way better than it was in WWE, especially now with the heel switch. Dude, I love how decisive you are, how you're executing. There's no hesitation. You said the word yourself. You said confidence. I see a much more confident performer in the ring. And maybe it's due because at 35, I always consider you've been in the business, what, 10, 12 years?
Almost 12 years now.
Okay, and that's kind of that 10 to 12 mark is when everybody really puts all the pieces together. Yeah, you have guys that learn it in 4, 5, 6, 7, but that 10 to 12 is kind of that holy grail. Me and Arn Anderson always talk about this when guys really come to their prime. And 35 is a prime money-making year, performing year. So it's all of that, but also the heel aspect has given you, especially here, just a different comfort level. But you're executing on a much higher level than you did in WWE. Would you agree with me? And or would you take that back to, obviously WWE, you were still learning. I know it's a long-winded question. I'm bad about doing this because in one of your interviews with Dario Cueto, I believe, you said you were handcuffed in WWE. Can you break down all the questions I just asked to try to make a chicken salad out of chicken shit?
Absolutely. So I think my work has definitely evolved, and I've been doing stuff physically at Lucha Underground that I never even really attempted at WWE. But really, more importantly, the confidence is there. And I think sometimes when you're on the road full time and you step away and you get a chance to marinate on who you were in the ring, the choices that you made, and why you did what you did while you were wrestling, and when you come back, you have a clear idea of who you want to be in the ring. And I feel like I have that now with Lucha Underground. As far as the handcuffs go, I feel like WWE is the best way to I use this metaphor a lot. It's like an express train, and their train is moving very fast, and they've got a couple of main event guys that are drawn. I mean, you've got Cena, people are paying money to see those guys. Then you've got people like me, like I don't know, Ziggler, Miz, like they're there on the show. We have followings, and people want to see our matches. But really, the most important are the main event guys. And when I say I'm handcuffed sometimes with WWE, I felt like I wanted to be the main event guy. I wanted to be the guy that could come up with any idea I wanted and have it happen. And just the way that the business works over there, you can't have that for everybody. You just can't. It's impossible.
You just can't. There's too many guys.
And at Lucha Underground, I feel like I am that guy. Like I'm the main event guy. I'm the guy that I can walk into to talk to Eric. I talked to him yesterday. Just call him on his cell. I can talk to all the creative guys, and if I have an idea, I can tell them what I want to do and why I want to do it, and then we can discuss like yes, no, why not, or when. And I just feel like I have more creative autonomy at Lucha Underground, and that's what I meant by handcuffs. And
because we're not sitting here bashing WWE
and also,
creative. It's two different machines.
And in the context of wrestling promotions, of course you're going to bash each other. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, but there's no malice intended. It just says what it is. They're two different systems.
Right.
It's funny because I've noticed it too, and you hit the nail right on the head. When I stepped away for a while and looked at what I was doing, I had a different approach on it. And like, although I've been out of the wrestling business since 2003, I continue to learn because I continue to watch. And therefore, I'm still very informed as far as what I would be doing now or how someone is coming across, or what the work is, and looking at the quality of work. So you were able to take the time off and reevaluate and assess and see, okay, it's a whole different standpoint.
Yeah.
I always like to say this. Sometimes you're so far in the forest you can't see the trees. They're right in front of you. All of a sudden you clear out a little bit, get some headspace, you think, okay, man, check it out. Here's a whole different presentation. I'm coming from a different place now, and there's a more well-rounded approach. And I kind of was been talking to Tyson Kidd. You know, he just went out to get his neck fused up. And I said, hey, man, any downtime, man? I said, keep watching the business, but now that you're removed from it, look at who moves you in promos. Look at, who resonates with you, or listen to the crowd and watch the guys.
Yeah.
And then watch the guys and listen to the crowd drop off, and then try to analyze, where they lost the crowd, why these guys had the crowd and this other two guys didn't. So that's the way I always approach the business. And when I get a chance to watch, I still do that.
And yeah, same. And I think you're absolutely. I think we're talking about the same thing. You just get that chance to marinate and think about it. And for me, it just became like easier to simplify. Like the most simple way, like to explain the business to people. And this is maybe another reason why this is the time helped me is a lot of times you do independent wrestling shows and you end up doing a seminar and doing a class and teaching the students wherever you are. Like I did one for Santino's Wrestling School a few months back in Toronto, and like you get a group of young wrestlers and they're asking you questions and you're like, oh well, shit. now I gotta think about it and answer these questions for myself. And the most simple answers to a lot of the questions that I would get asked at these seminars is like the most simple way to explain psychology of wrestling is baby faces give the crowd what they want and heels take it away. And if you just reduce everything you're doing, if you're a baby face or a heel, to that, everything kind of becomes clear. Like, should I do this or should I not do that? Like, are you a baby face? Does the crowd want to see that? Then yeah. Are you a baby face? And does the crowd not want to see that? Then no, don't do that.
That's interesting. It's a very linear approach to explaining the basic psychology of the business, and I never looked at that, but I could damn sure see what you're talking about.
And there's a million different approaches.
Absolutely. I've never heard it explained like that, but it's a good way.
Yeah,
it's a pretty economical and efficient way of saying parameters.
Then the next question that's always the hardest is you explain it like that, and then people ask, well, what do the people want? And if you figure that out,
you got to do something.
Then you're a main event guy.
That goes back to and to those guys that ask the question. You go out there and you do something to elicit a response. Based on that response, you proceed accordingly, and that is basically what pro wrestling is. You grab that headlock and do whatever you do, and then you're listening to the crowd. And it's always funny, Johnny, as you well know. It's one thing, we've got to get this match we're going to talk about here in a second. But, man, you got to listen to the crowd. No matter if you're working, if we're talking 15, 20 years ago, I'll call it in the ring, and even way before, just a finish is all you knew when you went to the ring. Versus, hey, everything mapped out A to Z. You still got to listen to the crowd as far as the timing. And, we've got time cues and everything like that, commercial breaks. It is what it is. It's a very complicated system these days. And guys that are on top, or guys that are good, have got to be able to survive and make those elements work for them. Going back to your second match with Prince Puma, the all-night match, I went back on your Twitter account. You said that was probably the greatest match of your life. I would agree. That was a badass match that anybody would be proud to have a part of. Man, that bump you guys had all built from. I love the way. Let me see. He took a 2-0 or 2-1 lead on you.
Yeah.
The one with I love the finish that you got on him when you did the acrobatic thing where you got into the ropes. Referee didn't see it.
Yeah.
Good way to cheat. I dug that. And so finally, you guys, and I'm gonna give the whole match away, and but you can watch it on YouTube. Just find it. What's up? What have we done?
I think if you just YouTube Mundo Prince Puma all night long and come up on YouTube.
It's an awesome match.
L-rate.
Now, in theory, you guys worked about because you had opening and close of the show. You had him, the way the match goes down. So the finish, but you guys basically worked 55 minutes? At least 50.
I think we worked over an hour.
Over an hour?
When I watched the match, there was several things that got cut out of the match.
Right.
So we had break spots. I mean, we worked just like a WWE TV taping, basically. We had
worked through the breaks.
Yeah, we had I forget how it broke down, but we had like 7 minutes break, then 5 minutes, then break, and then 5 minutes, and then we wanted to keep the longest chunk at the end.
Right.
And this is another thing where we were sitting down, and we were in on this. Like, we were talking about, like, when would the break spots be, like, what would be most effective, and we were all, like, in agreement that we should have as long of a time uninterrupted at the end.
Right.
Like, the longest chunk should be at the end. If we had to do commercial breaks because it's TV.
Right.
But the more of those that we could do up front, the better, so we could have more time at the end. Solid.
You guys, several times you brought it into the crowds were real interesting spots, and a couple times up there in the corner of that second layer, and then that, of course, you started setting the table, no pun intended, with the tables.
Right.
And of course, they weren't to come into play until later, but you set the table, you set the anticipation that you knew soon enough, or at some time, these tables are going to be used.
I think that's the beauty of those type of things.
Oh, dude,
you set the things up, you tease it, and then you set something else up, and you tease it again, and then eventually, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Someone's going through the
when
table.
When are they going to be used? I love the way that thing climaxed, and tell me about that bump. Because when you look back, I mean, when there's been spectacular bumps, you know, from Mick Foley, you know, working with Taker in the Hell in the Cell, to all of the ladder matches that all those guys in WWE put forward. But I put this, you know, a couple of those bumps in this match in that ballpark.
It was pretty out there.
Thinking when all of a sudden you fed up, he does the tackle, boom, you guys go down. You know, I know you've I don't think you've ever done that bump before. You've done a lot of bumps.
I mean, that was
kind of one of those things that's a calculated risk.
It's almost like a once-in-a-lifetime bump.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple things at play. One was a lot of the people at Lucha Underground, myself included, have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder about proving that we deserve to be where we're at and proving that we're the best show on TV. And that was going through my mind. Like, I wanted to do something that people would watch and be like, "Holy shit, we're not going to see that anywhere else but here."
Right.
So that was what was going into that. And side note, this is how crazy Puma is. We were talking about that stuff.
Amazing chemistry, by the way.
He's like, "Why don't we do a Spanish Fly? Like, I'll hit you with this," and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah,
we're already like 20 feet in the air. We don't even be doing flips out of the tables.
So that's what he actually wanted to do?
Originally. We were talking about it.
Yeah, I'm watching the finish in the first time, you guys, and there's a Spanish Fly executed.
He wanted to do that off the thing.
Oh,
those tables.
No.
And we looked at it and like, I was like, let's just
good call.
Let's just make sure we hit the tables.
Yeah.
And that set is it's a little bit janky.
Yeah.
Like it's a concrete slab, but there's like those metal rebars around it, and some of those things aren't real metal; they're just set deck, so they're styrofoam. So the first time we got up there, like I took a little step on that metal rebar and it broke because it's styrofoam. Right. And I was like, we gotta be pretty careful about what we're doing up here. And the way that it turned out, I think was perfect, because when we landed, both of us had the wind knocked out of us, and we're both like for a second like, "Hey, you okay? You okay?" And we're like, for me, I think I was like, that's about the max of
I would say I don't know if we should blow any further than that, but it was a spectacular bump, and they captured it wonderfully. And I think they did go to break, but then they came back and they replayed it like 3 times.
It was cool. It was the first replay in Lucha history.
Yeah,
and it was something that I've been on them about like for a long time, is getting a replay camera, because some of the spectacular moves that these guys are doing, I personally want to watch it over and over again, and you have to rewind the DVR, and it just seems like they should have a replay camera.
Here's the thing, I love the match, but now I'm sitting there thinking, the only thing that I thought was missing, because the finish goes down, time runs out, but there never was a live, because you guys are going all night long, so you're working within the parameters of the show.
Right.
And you guys say your show, that there wasn't anybody counting down to raise that sense of urgency that something needed to happen, because you guys were at 4-4.
Right.
And that's the only thing I thought was missing.
I think it would have helped. And you're absolutely right.
Man, you're into the countdown now, 20, 19, 8, you know.
And I think that because it's a production that hasn't been used to a lot of wrestling.
Right.
A lot of times they put the TV show before the wrestling.
Right.
And then that's what I like that, because then I can come in and say like, no, this is a wrestling match. Like, the crowd needs to be involved. And I thought of that after. I wish I thought of it ahead of time too.
Yeah.
But that we originally the match was just supposed to end with that last fall, and it was going to be like, that's the end of the show. And when we were sitting in the meeting, I was like, that can't be the end of the show. It's an hour match. The time has to. And like everyone was like, all of a sudden, 5 minutes before the match started, like, oh shit, let's change this up and fix that. And there's little growing pains and things like that come up. that every episode sometimes there's a last minute idea or fix.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I love it over there. Just because it feels like everyone's involved and trying to figure out the solution to all these problems, and it's happening. It's actually like happening so fast that you need everybody to be on the same wavelength.
Right, man. And again, that's nitpicking, but that would have really raised the stakes up. And when I watched it,
like the whole crowd was counting down.
Yeah, man. Because anyway, but I think outstanding match.
And then it was part of it because they wanted to have complete control in post to be able to do the clock timing.
I got you. Yeah. You deal with that stuff.
And that's
but you know what? Anyway, a lesson learned. If they ever decide to do it again, I got to have that countdown in there. Hey, man, let's take a quick break. I want to talk to Johnny about adapting. So, to me, in my estimation, real easily to the lucha style, and your athletic nature, your parkour background certainly plays into that. Coming right back with Johnny Mundo. I don't know a single person who don't have a cell phone these days because we can't live without them. Everywhere I go, people are looking down at their cell phones, texting, taking pictures, playing Game of War, checking email, shopping, doing everything on their phones, but talking. And sometimes they're doing a lot of that while driving in their automobiles. And you know how hot that makes me. Yeah, I'm going to get hot about it. But here's something you can do on your phone that's car-related that won't endanger those around you. Download the TrueCar app. TrueCar has created a mobile app that makes buying a new car simple and fun. Download the TrueCar app, and in 5 minutes, you can create the car you want. You can choose make, model, special features, even the color. And once you have your specs filled out, you can see what others paid for the same car. When I say others, I'm talking about people who actually live in your zip code. Then you can lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers in your area. On average, over $3,000 off MSRP. Now, that's making good use of your cell phone. They got an app for everything these days. But how many actually save you a serious chunk of change? And imagine what you can do with that money. It's summertime, people. I can think of lots of things for you to do with an extra $3,000 in your pocket. So do the smart thing. Download the TrueCar app. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today. All right, sitting here talking to Johnny Mundo. Just took a little commercial break. We're rolling again. I want to talk about the lucha libre style of wrestling. Dude, you've been a crazy type athletic background ever since I've known you, been watching you. How hard or how easy was it for you to adapt to the lucha style? And I'll stop right there because I'm so good at asking long-winded questions. How was the transition into working lucha?
It wasn't that different from the way that I worked in WWE. I mean, my first match when Eminem debuted in 2005. Our very first match was Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. We won the tag championships.
Hard to go wrong with those two guys.
I know. Yeah. And I've had the chance to work with Rey, like, maybe not 100 times, but a lot when I was with WWE. And we had feuds with the Mexicools and Super Crazy and Psychosis and Ruby. So I had some experience. It wasn't like I was just like venturing off into uncharted territory. I've definitely learned quite a bit. I think the language barrier is a little difficult sometimes, and the difference in psychology is hard. And sometimes, instead of completely adapting to lucha, what I think makes Lucha Underground unique and different is blending American psychology with lucha psychology and getting some of the moves to mean more.
Right, kind of like a hybrid.
That's what I think it should be.
Yeah,
and I always push it that way.
Well, it makes sense because sometimes, like, back in the old days when we were shooting Redneck Island, we shot in Mexico. So, man, I'd catch it was either EMLL or AAA or whatever, but they'd get some badass workers down there.
Right.
So guys that are veterans are real salty. I mean, laying their stuff in are just absolutely very technical. And I love to watch that stuff. But just when I watch the totality of the product, I don't really understand the psychology of what they're trying to do because both guys can shine or the heel gets some heat. All of a sudden, here comes the baby back or the Rudo and the technical, whatever you want to call them. But I don't necessarily understand the pure psychology of a match. But I just appreciate the athleticism. So the fact that you can throw a little bit of American psychology in there.
One of the first conversations I had with a lot of the guys from AAA was if there's a way that we can get in Lucha Underground people to, instead of just cheering for moves, because they're going to cheer for moves,
correct,
it's spectacular, to cheer for the people, to cheer for Phoenix and Aerostar and Puma, then I think we're going to turn a corner and we're going to have something, a product that is uniquely different that is going to be appealing to a bigger audience.
Yeah, and taking the time to invest in the characters, and so the characters come alive, and you're cheering for a person, not just for the fact that the person you know is going to do a bunch of crazy moves.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's great when they say, hey, this is awesome and awesome, but, you know, when both characters mean something and you're doing something that's awesome, they buy in, that's the holy grail.
Those are the moments that I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, when you're invested into the characters and the characters do something awesome, then it means something.
Okay, you grew up here in L.A. You mentioned you're a lifelong wrestling fan. Like, I know, you know, Kurt Hennig was one of your favorites, Shawn Michaels was one of your favorites, but growing up as a kid, and you're 35, who was some of the guys you were cutting your teeth on locally?
I mean, when I was growing up, I used to go to the Great Western Forum back in the day with my dad, and we'd watch the house shows. The Macho Man, the Bushwhackers, and
yeah.
Even
that was a great building to watch wrestling in. I mean,
I still miss it.
Out of town right now.
Yeah,
and I thought, are they rebuilding that?
They did.
Yeah.
I just went to
it's a great venue.
I forget what the name of it was, but it was like a kickboxing event they had down there. It was real cool.
We used to wrestle back here in WCW, and I love that building just because I love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So you guys go down there, but basically it was WWF stuff.
Yeah, it was WWF. WWF was the stuff that I watched the most. And when I was younger, the first guy that I really started watching the most was Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I mean, that was when I was a little kid. And
hey man, dude, he was the guy leading the charge. I mean, Hulk Hogan,
he was everywhere.
Wild. I mean, so why not?
It was the same. My prayers eating my vitamins.
Yeah.
Him and Warrior, like at WrestleMania 6, and I think when I started going to the events with my dad, hearing like just how the crowd would react to Hulk Hogan, like you're a kid and it's so exciting that you get into it. As I got older, Macho Man really was my guy, and the Bushwhackers, the Rockers like Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, the tag teams, Legion of Doom.
Right.
I mean, it's if you're a wrestling fan, it's really everybody.
Right.
I mean, I'd say Macho Man is one of the guys that had the most influence on who I wanted to be in the ring.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, like, when I watch you work, I mean, you really remind me of John Morrison or Johnny Mundo. So, I mean, I guess it's a compliment to, I think, you have an original body of work. You have your influences, obviously, but I really can't see that. I just see you as being you.
I'd take from a lot of people, though. I mean, it's hard to say, like, I'm not just copying, like, somebody.
No.
But, like,
you're not.
But, like, Piper, I don't know. I mean, you could just rattle off wrestlers all day.
Right.
Kurt Hennig, Piper, Macho Man, Hogan, Warrior, Shawn Michaels, and then even Rey Mysterio. He was one of the guys that I really started studying when I was high school, college, when I started thinking about, I think I want to have a career as a pro wrestler. He was the guy that I started watching the most closely.
And dude, Ray of all people, I mean, dude, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a guy. I mean, his style was
specifically just because, like, actually not even just Ray, but when him and like Super Crazy Psychosis came into ECW, like just the type of stuff that they were doing, it hit me because I'd never really seen it before, and I was like, holy shit! Like, and actually, and Rob too, like Rob and Sabu, and like that whole ECW stuff. It was just a different style.
Yeah. But was it a style that you figured you could learn or try to emulate? Because, I mean, hardly anybody could do what Ray was doing way back in the day.
At the time, that's what I thought I could do or what I wanted to do. And I think that was I wouldn't have made the same decision now. Which is cool because it's just how you evolve as a wrestler and as a person. I wanted to learn how to do those type of moves because it's what I thought was cool, and I thought those moves were cool. And now I understand, like, I don't think people would want to see me do Ray's moves. They want to see Ray do Ray's moves.
Yeah. Hey, man, let's go back to a couple of years ago when you were on Tough Enough. How did you enjoy that whole experience? What was your takeaway from that? Because it was Tough Enough, and then 4 years of training before you actually had your first match, correct?
Yeah, just about.
Okay, so your experience in Tough Enough, good, bad, and different?
Loved it. I mean, I couldn't have hoped for a better opportunity. I mean, I tried out for Tough Enough 2, didn't make it, and then I started training at like the wrestling school in Sacramento, and I would go like twice a week while I was a full-time student and train at Supreme Pro Wrestling at the Colonial Theater in Sacramento, and then I reapplied for Tough Enough.
Who was leading at camp?
A guy named the Big Ugly.
Okay.
And El Flaco Loco.
Okay.
Another guy named Dante was one of the trainers there.
Did they know what they were talking about?
They were pretty good. And when I reapplied for Tough Enough 3, I ended up making it on Tough Enough 3. And when I went, actually, the Big Ugly, when I found out I made the show, he's like, brother, when you get there, forget everything you learned, shut your mouth, and just listen to what they teach you. And I was like, right, he knows the business.
That was good advice.
Yeah. And when I got there, I felt like it was perfect for me because I was a fan of the business. I had all this gymnastics training and all these ideas and all this energy, and it was an opportunity to learn from the best. And it was Al, Bill, and Ivory were the trainers on that season of Tough Enough.
To me, Al is a great teacher, and a lot of people, I think I've told the story a few times. Before I came up to WWF way back in the day, I was recovering from a tricep tear, and I'd only worked like 2 or 3 matches at ECW, which weren't really matches. And so, I told Vince, when he hired me, I said, hey man, I got some ring rust on me. I'd like to go to Lima, Ohio, and to Al's camp and work with him for about 5-6 days. So I flew up there.
Yeah,
and worked with Al and D'Lo, and so Al was wonderful to me. And because I had a high respect for his in-ring ability and what he could do,
right,
and as a teacher. So, and I remember actually before the submission match I had with Bret Hart in WrestleMania 13, Al taught me the 2 or 3 submission moves, the Texas Cloverleaf, and 1 or 2 other ones. But I learned those from Al Snow there in his camp in Lima.
Right.
Yeah. So I know he's a great teacher.
Yeah, I think. I think so too.
And I think Bill is too. I don't know what happened with the calamity that ensued down there in Florida and Orlando with him, but I enjoy it. I think Bill is a damn good instructor as well.
For where I was on Tough Enough, Bill was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a hard ass, and he's aggressive, and he makes you makes sure that you have respect for the business. And on that show of Tough Enough, that's what you need because there's a bunch of kids. Some are respectful, some aren't, but everyone's green as grass. And you need somebody like Bill there. And you need somebody like Al, and everybody's got a role, and everybody is there for a reason. And I thought that I still think my season was the best season. I mean, probably because I was on it. But
well, where did y'all film at?
We lived in a house up in the mountains in Calabasas, and we filmed down in I think it was over there somewhere. I think it was North Hollywood. We filmed at a big studio.
Now you're a film major, but this is your first foray into TV, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts about how the reality television aspect broke down for you?
The very first day I was there, and I remember watching the cameras and kind of walked off the mat to look at it, and Al Snow come up right next to my face and goes, hey, are you here for that, or are you here for wrestling? And I was like, oh shit, I'm here for wrestling.
Right.
I can think about that stuff later, but for now, let me just think about wrestling, think about what I'm learning. And I tried to tune that out as much as I could after that because I realized I can't do. I mean, some people can. I can't though. I've got kind of a singular focus a lot of times. If I focus on one thing, I can get really good at it. But if I try to do too many things at once, I just kind of average or less at all of them.
Dude, I tell my wife I'm the worst multitasker in the world. You give me one thing, I'm cool.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you start spreading my attention span over about 2 or 3 or 4 different projects, I'll shit to bed every single time.
Yeah.
I don't like to multitask. Now, after that, you go to OVW.
Yeah, so when I got to OVW, Danny Davis was there, and Jim Cornette was running it, and we had Lance Storm come in, and I feel like he's one of the best trainers that I had in my whole career. I can't say enough good things about Lance.
Badass.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the way he explained stuff and the way he ran practice. Right. Because that was when I was at OVW. That was the time where I felt like Bill would come and train, and I got a lot more from Lance than Bill at the time. Because Lance's opinion was that your job as a pro wrestler is to get in shape, do your homework, and when you get to OVW, it's time to learn about wrestling and psychology. And that's how I was treating it. I was doing my cardio, and I was spending 2 or 3 hours at the gym on my own time every night after practice. And during practice, I was just trying to focus on wrestling, which is what was Lance's forte, is explaining. And sometimes if we had to do 1,000 squats with Bill, I felt like it was counterproductive because I was like, oh man, I already did my leg workout, and now I'm spending all day squatting, and I want to be learning psychology.
I think too too much that has been way back in the days is just trying to correct people. Or you hear the tough training camps back in the day where, here comes a guy who doesn't know anything, wants to get in the business, so they just torture him through these torturous, rigorous, sessions just as a weeding out process.
I agree,
it's
but
a waste of time to find out if he really wants it.
Right. And
waste of time.
I feel like that too. Well, I mean, obviously feel like that for myself personally because I know that I really did want it.
Right.
And maybe it wasn't a waste of time though, because maybe there were some people that did get weeded out.
Exactly, but at a certain point, it's time to drop that shit and learn about the ABCs of the business and the mechanics of it.
There's a room full of 30 people that are trying to get ready to show up on Raw or SmackDown.
Right.
Like those people should be learning the ABCs of the business,
yeah.
like psychology, holds.
So tell me about the mechanics of the business. Just as far as the work, with respect to working the ring, chain wrestling, high spots, the mechanics of it, because you reached a very high level in WWE. You're at a whole different level working in Lucha Underground, in my opinion. Maybe it has to do with the fact that the guys you're working with from the Mexican side are really great technicians, and that's a rub off on you, and you've gotten that.
I've definitely picked up a few things from these guys.
Absolutely.
They, you know what though? I think the more that and it's also just that I've been wrestling for an extra 4 years now,
right?
And I've had a chance on the independent scene to wrestle like a lot of the guys. I got to wrestle Kevin Steen at 2CW, Noam Dar, Will Ospreay, like a lot of the top like guys on the independent wrestling scene. And every time I wrestle one of those guys, hopefully they pick up something from me because I'm picking up something from them too, like learning to hold or a different way to do something or something about footwork. And it's definitely now being immersed with a whole new roster of people. There's Angelico who's like came up with learning a bunch of stuff from the tournament, like all those Japanese wrestling holds.
Right.
And I personally think that like you can definitely do too much of that, but being exposed to it and learning a few things from him, learning some stuff from Hijo de Fantasma and Phoenix and all the different stuff that I've been immersed in now has really rounded me out, I think.
Now, how long did it take for you to really have a really total command of psychology?
I don't feel like I even have it now.
Okay, that's my point. But because the mechanics is one thing, and it took me, man. I was a decent mechanic at 2 years, but when I go back and watch my stuff now, I'll cringe and I could nitpick. If I sit there and watch a match, I would just shit all over some of the stuff I did up 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Right?
Why did I do that, or that looked like shit? But the psychology part of it, I finally started putting together at about the 8 or 9 year mark, and at the 10-year mark, which I mentioned earlier with you, that's kind of when I really thought I started having a hand of it. But then you get a chance, you start working with your Bret Hart, your Shawn Michaels, who kind of, I was a pretty damn good worker. I could work a crowd for sure, but when you work with guys like your Bretts and your Shawns who kind of have that next level of, first of all, athletic ability, not so much with Bret athletic ability. Shawn was crazy athletic, but Bret with the storytelling, Shawn with the storytelling, they were kind of that scientific level from a psychology standpoint.
Right. I think right now, in hindsight, I've got psychology 100%, but in the moment, it's still I feel like I'm almost there, or maybe you should always be almost there. Maybe you should never be all the way there.
Right.
I learned this in high school and college wrestling. I had one tournament. It was the league championships. I think there's like a 32 school thing. I wrestled some guy that I should have pretty much destroyed, and I did, and I barely won by one point. And my coach said, like, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "The stuff wasn't working." And he's like, "Yeah, it wasn't working because you don't do those moves. Like a lateral drop, like a headlock takeover. Like you don't. I've never seen you do that stuff before. Why were you trying it?" And I was like, "I just thought it was there."
Yeah. And
then he's like, "Don't do any of that shit. Cross reach single. That's your do a cross reach single, and then do a leg ride and do a power half. That's what you do." And it was and then for the rest of the tournament, that's what I did, and I won. And I applied that same type of stuff to wrestling. Like, if you do certain things well and you know them, just do that stuff and you don't mess up. But it's when you're trying stuff for the first time, you start to get sloppy or stuff's a little bit off. And that part of psychology I feel like I get now. There's moves that I know, and I know a lot more moves now that I could say I can execute every time than I did 5 years ago. But I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. Like, I know what I shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And that's, as far as in-ring mechanics go, feel like when you get that part of it, that's when you've got a grasp of the mechanics.
And watching the show at Lucha Underground, there at the building, Bull Heights, what do y'all call that place?
The Temple?
The Temple. I love the Temple.
Yeah.
Is that a 20 by 20 ring y'all are working in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a 20 by 20. The ropes are...
it looks pretty bump friendly.
It's a great bumping ring.
Yeah.
The ropes are a little bit lower than the WWE ropes. I'd say about 3 inches lower. And they're cable as opposed to rope, which is, they're springboard friendly.
Right.
Is a good way to put it.
So, yeah. We love a little stiffer.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the things I want to ask about, tell me about the El Patron, Del Rio.
El Patron.
Yeah. He's got off over there. He seems like he's got a new lease on life. I really like his character a whole lot better in Lucha Underground than I did with WWE. I'm not shitting on what he did over there. I just like what he's doing now.
I mentioned before that I think some of the guys have a chip on their shoulder.
Right.
And I think, I'm saying that in a good way.
Yeah.
And I think he does, for sure. And when he came over there and he made his debut and he cut that promo about how it feels, he feels good to be in a place where the word equal means something.
Right.
And these are his people. And when you look at his eyes in that promo,
yeah,
he believes it.
Yeah.
And I think the end of his run in WWE, like, it wasn't fully there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he is fully there now, maybe more than ever in his career. And you can, when I'm in the ring across from him, I can feel it. Like if he's gonna, it's real to him in the moment.
Right.
Like if I don't get out of the way, he's gonna kill me.
Right.
And that's who I want to be in the ring with, because that's how I try to be, and the fans can detect that too.
Yeah, I just felt that and watching his character, I guess he was just a rich guy, whatever. I drove the car in. And a guy, and he always had the smile on his face.
Right.
And it's hard for me to identify with a guy who's always got a smile on his face. And now he doesn't always have a smile on his face.
Right.
He's downright dirty. He's got a mean streak, and he's able to express that. And to me, it's just a wide range of emotions, but it's a more focused effort. And he's laying his shit in. And to that point, you're laying your shit in too. Some of those clubbing blows you were giving to Prince Boom, I mean, good shit. So tell me about how fun that angle was to shoot when you threw that summit through Cueto's window. Because that was
I mean, who wouldn't want to throw somebody through a glass window, especially if you're a wrestling fan?
Right.
The old barbershop.
Now, how did that come about?
They had, we were talking earlier about how like you had like the gimmick pool cue.
Yeah.
They only had one.
We're talking low budget movies.
They only
had one gimmick pool cue and a whole pool fight scene for about a whole day's worth of filming, so I ended up beating the shit out of all the stunt guys with a real pool cue. That's what we were talking about. Go ahead. So you got one shot.
They have one sugar glass window. And this window they've had from episode 3 for the whole season.
Yeah.
So they're waiting.
So it's lasted a while.
I mean, they've got it in a protective case in the back. They haven't put it up yet. They're waiting for the right time. We almost used it once before, and then this is like the time when they're like, all right, this is how we're going to start. You and Patron, we're going to do the glass thing, and the best way to put it is it was awesome. Like we walked through the deal, and when they put the glass up, I think everybody that was there, like seeing the glass and like watching us standing there, just had that feeling of like, this is going to be a moment of Lucha Underground that people talk about, that means something to people, and it felt like that to me too, and to Patron obviously too. He's told me about it. We've talked about it several times. So I think starting that angle with him, throwing him through the window, and I'm excited for you to see where we go with it on August 5th, because
season finale Lucha Underground on El Rey Network August 5th.
It has a good payoff on August 5th, and I think just leave it at that. It's a really cool thing, and it has a payoff, and I think that's one of the cool things about Lucha is there's less loose ends, because it's a tighter show. Everything is usually paid off and tied together.
It's interesting how you guys go out to commercial break and how you come back in. And I was in my trailer out there, and I would also say when Eric came by and he was explaining that, and it's just an interesting take, and it's an interesting vibe coming from the world which you came from. You WWE for a long time. What made you leave there? Did they not want to renew you? Was it time for you to ride off into the sunset? What happened?
So 2011, I had like my first serious injury in wrestling, really. Like I had prior to that, I had like a torn MCL, a partially torn MCL on my other knee, and a couple of scopes. But 2011 maybe April or something. I was on a Europe tour, and I suddenly couldn't use my right arm. And I got an MRI in Birmingham, England, and they said it's because your C5 snapped in half and floated down and is impinging your spinal cord. So I finished out.
Good news.
Yeah.
People out there that aren't doctors.
Exactly. Yeah. Not good. So I finished the tour, and they said you're going to have to get this surgery ASAP. I got it, and it's relatively minor in the world of neck injuries.
Right.
It's not as bad as having a neck fusion. That's what Tyson Kidd is having. That's terrible, man, because he's so talented.
Yeah, he'll be back home.
Yeah. So I had that, and my contract is expiring. And when I came back to negotiate, I wanted a few specific things. Really, what I wanted was more creative autonomy. I just wanted some assurances of that. And we were talking about a deal, and they wanted me to sign a 3-year deal. It was kind of the same deal that I had, which was a pretty good deal at the time. And I think because I had that neck injury, and I was still like having residual pain, and I hadn't had time to fully rehab, and I jumped back into the road full time. I feel like I wanted more control of my time. And when I left, we left on really good terms. I just said, I don't want to resign right now. Maybe I need 6 months or a year, and I'll come back. We just left it at that.
Yeah.
And that has become 4 years now almost.
Okay, so then all of a sudden, how did El Rey or Lucha or Eric get in contact with you to say, hey man, we got Lucha Underground, and explain this concept to you?
So I first got contacted by Chris DeJoseph. Yeah. And I got a phone call from Big Dick Johnson, and he said he was starting a wrestling promotion. And I was like, hey, Chris, that's great to hear from you. Call me when it's happening. I'd love to. Right. And I say that a lot to people because I've gotten several calls like that, and most of the time, like, you get a call like that, yeah, it's bullshit, like nothing ever happens.
Same with the movie business.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a little bit jaded. Yeah. And then I don't hear from him for like a couple months. And then a couple months go by, he calls me and he says, that wrestling promotion I was telling you about, it's like, it's happening. We've got a location picked out. We need you to sign for like a year or I think 7 years he asked me to sign for. And I was like, okay, that's great. Let me just come check out this building, this promotion.
So you want to go down and see what you're getting yourself into?
Yeah. Okay. And when I went down there, I went to the Temple, which is a warehouse in downtown LA. Which actually I filmed the movie like 2 years prior to Lucha Underground with Danny Trejo in that exact location. And when I got there, when I was filming the movie with Danny, the place was disgusting. It was covered in rat shit. There was like old, smelly carpet all over the place, trash everywhere. And when I got there, Chris walked me in. It was still a dump, but they had built an awesome lucha set in the middle of it. They had like bleachers. They had this nice ring. They had a huge jib, and then I talked to him, and I started talking to the production team, and they're talking about how they're going to run an 8-camera setup. It's going to go live to tape, and post is going to happen. And then they started explaining the vignettes, and I was all of a sudden like, oh, wait a minute. So this is really happening. There's money's been spent. There's a set built. There's a production behind it. And then I talked to Eric, who I met on Tough Enough, the Tough Enough that you did, that I came to as a guest at one time, and Tony, and they explained to me what their vision was for this thing, and I was like, wow, I didn't ever plan on really going anywhere aside from maybe going back to WWE, but there's a lot of things here that I'm really into. It's they're planning on combining action films with wrestling. They explained the way they're planning on shooting the vignettes. They are shooting in Los Angeles, like 15 minutes from where I live, which doesn't hurt anything. Yeah. And we also set it up so that we're shooting on weekends, which means I can still do movies and projects. As a matter of fact, I missed an episode because I was doing an action movie for Cinetel. Right. And they were nice enough to just say, okay, yeah, if you take this job, it shoots 3 weeks and we only overlap 1 day, go ahead. And all those things combined was kind of exactly what I wanted. I wanted to have creative autonomy. I wanted to be free to pursue movie projects, but I also have more fun wrestling than I do anything else. There's not really anything more fun than wrestling, but with WWE, it's just that's all you have.
Man, it's a grind, and here's the thing: you were able to get away from it enough to turn back into a civilian, as I say, because it took me 3 years to adapt to being a civilian. Actually, 4.5.
I'd say I'm still adapting. Like
you know what I'm saying, but you're not on the road all the time. Now, back when I was a road warrior, not a part of the road warriors, but you know what I mean, in the road mode. All of a sudden, you're on the road for days and weeks at a time. It's like, man, I need to go home. All of a sudden, you get home, you're home for a day and a half. Man, I need to get out. So
I still get hit with that. There's times when I'm thinking, and I saw a bunch of the guys yesterday. Johnny Jeter got married. I think I mentioned that to you too. But he was on the Spirit Squad, so there's a bunch of guys from OVW, Mondo, Steve Lewington, Romeo Roselli, Cassidy, but also I talked to Dolph Ziggler's in town. He's doing something else, but I was talking to him about the schedule, and some of those I think they're on the road 6 days a week now because of NXT.
Yeah.
So it's even more full time now than it was when I was on the road 4 years ago.
Yeah, I loved it when I was doing it, but now like me, now I was doing my reality stuff. Like we're shooting, Broken Skull Challenge was 60 days, but I live on set. I'm in LA. We do Redneck Island, man. I'm 30 days. I'm on a lake. I got a boat. So it's that kind of traveling. It's not all over the world. But going back to the,
I miss it though. I would say there's definitely times where I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking man, I wish I was driving somewhere. I wish I was on location. I wish I was doing something. And I definitely I feel like that transition between being a road warrior, or a road dog, or whatever, to being a civilian is tough.
So then, any aspirations of going back to WWE?
Sure, definitely. It's always hard though to say in wrestling what's gonna happen, and I know Lucha Season 2 is happening, and they're really excited about it, and I am too. And I feel like everything that I wanted to do in wrestling is happening for me right now with Lucha, so I'm gonna stay, and I'm not going anywhere. But with WWE, when I was a kid, I was watching WrestleMania, and that was my dream.
Okay, so then dig this. Okay, so you do season 2 of Lucha Underground. If it gets greenlit, and hopefully it does get greenlit. It's a great show. You do season 2. Then, hey man, pack the bags. If WWE were to call and get back out on the road with them. To me, if you did that, I'm not trying to pry you away from Lucha Underground. I'm recruiting for WWE now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Eric, if you're listening,
to me, you're just a more dynamic entertainer. You're better now than you were, and so your value has increased. And with the roster being what it is, there's a lot of green guys out there. There's not a whole lot of guys with 12, 13, whatever years experience you have now to go back in there and get back in and operate to me on a higher level.
I've thought about that, and it's hard to say what's happening in wrestling and entertainment because there's so many moving pieces. But last time I was backstage at Raw was March, and it was cool seeing everybody. I saw Carano and Stephanie and all the guys, and it was cool being backstage. And it's something that I feel like at some point, if there's no season 2 of Lucha, or if the show gets canceled, it's something that I'd be interested in doing.
There's a flip side of that, and now let me play devil's advocate for the other side. Man, the micromanagement over there is at an all-time high, I will say.
Yeah.
And I'm just bashing. That's just the way it is. It's a very, very, very controlled scenario. And so would you be able to exist? Because you really like the freedom of being able to go to Eric or whoever, Chris and Joseph, talk to those cats and expressing your concerns with angles and promos and stuff and your relationship with the guys there. And Dario, could you walk back to that system of being so
contained, controlled.
Yeah.
That's why I said if there was no Lucha, then I consider going back. But there is Lucha, and that right now is I think it's exactly what I wanted to have in wrestling, and I think that there's a possibility that it could take off and become something much, much bigger than anyone is expecting.
I think it could.
And
I think the potential is there for that.
If I were to go back, I feel like I've learned a lot about who I am in the ring and how to go about sticking up for yourself with who you want to work with, what you want to do. I don't know. I think I could exist anywhere.
Talk to me real quick, and let's wrap this thing and go home. I know you got a busy day, and I'm gonna pack up and head out to challenge. When you went down there and you saw the set with Krista Joseph, and you talked to Eric. Obviously, when you meet Eric, you can see he's a very bright guy.
Right.
And you met him that one day at Tough Enough 2011. But as that picture's been explained to you, that presentation, I love the format that is Lucha Underground. Right. It's entirely different from the pro wrestling world that we knew as WWF or WWE. Mm-hmm. So did that all of a sudden, did that throw you, or you were able to see all the components and put it together in your mind and have the same vision? I love the way it's presented. Now, I'm not telling WWE to do that. They do what they do. And the Lucha's trying to do something completely different. I respect that. I like the way it's presented. Were you able to visualize that when they were breaking it down to you? Because it's
to be honest, yes. Like I could, and I've had a lot of conversations with different promotions that have said that they're going to do something different, that they're going to do this, but no one ever really does. Everything just seems like they're diet WWE. They're trying to be WWE, but they don't have the money, the production, the talent. They don't have what WWE has. And this is the first time when they were explaining everything about how they were going to do the vignettes and how it was going to be all post-produced and run like a TV show. And I was visualizing, not too far off from what it is, hoping that I was going to be correct in the way that it was put together. And to their credit, they followed through. Like they committed to being different. They committed to not trying to be WWE, to being something different, which is, I think, to their credit, why it's so successful. It's why I like it. It's why I think a lot of people are responding to it.
Oh, dude, 100%. If it's just like WWE except on our format, I think it suck ass.
Yeah.
I just like the mystery behind it, the mystique. I like the lighting, the production value. Some of the camera angles are absolutely crazy.
Right.
And so I love the setting.
That's the competitive advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be WWE, except with like 400 people in the crowd instead of 20,000, yeah. You're right. It's going to suck. But with that smaller building, and with you running the same building over and over again, you have the opportunity to do those crazy camera angles, to use the obstacles in different ways, to present talent and your roster in a different way, and that's the competitive advantage. And they're doing that, which is the only reason that it's so awesome.
Now, how hot or how live is that crowd? Are they buying in? I mean, I know they bought into that hour match you and Prince Puma had, and a lot of them. But are they revved up? If you hit the gas, are they right there with you?
Absolutely. And when the very first match I had with Prince Puma, the crowd was there. It was hot. But after the show started airing on TV, the crowd now is exponentially better. They know everyone's names. They're right with from Aerostar to Phoenix to King Cuerno. They're chanting names and they're there. It's a live crowd.
So in 5 years, I know you're probably not a guy that looks 5 years down the road. At 40, what would Johnny Mundo be doing? And dude, when I say that, that's still a very young man.
It's right around the corner. Well, the reason I left WWE was to get into this like action film making and producing. I was talking to you earlier about how I used to live in Manhattan Beach, and I sold my house in Manhattan Beach to pay for a movie that I wrote. The movie's called Boone the Bounty Hunter. It's about a narcissistic bounty hunter who boons celebrities. It's got me like chasing Kevin Sober around Burbank and like hitting a senton off a roof onto him. And then this guy, his show gets canceled and he goes after real criminals in Mexico. So it's an action comedy that I wrote and I'm starring in and did like a lot of the choreo for. And it's going to be done maybe in a few months. That's specifically what I'd like to be doing 5 years from now. Writing, producing, and starring in action comedy movies. And in the meantime, wrestling. And if I can do both those things, then I'd have everything I want.
How long did it take you to write that thing?
I mean, I didn't write it alone either. There's 4 writers in the project. I started working on it over 3 years ago. And the first draft took like 6 months and just polished and polished and polished and polished and polished. And we finished shooting it almost a year ago. And we're still working on post. So, I mean, last week I was sitting with the editor. We'll go through the whole thing. We'll watch scenes. And if there's something that's not working, I'll point stuff out. We'll pick different takes and like patch the whole thing together. So I didn't even know how to explain how many hours I've put into this project at this point. But it's getting pretty awesome. And I think when it's done, people will see it.
Okay, so then when you get it out, how will you release this? How will people be able to see it?
That's a good question. So this is this is the first time I've done this. I mean, I've been in a lot of movies, but this is the first one that I've really put myself out there for. I took the trailer to AFM last year, and I got offers and interest from people from Voltage and Lionsgate to Green Films, Gorilla Pictures. Everyone loves it, but they don't have anything to lose. Of course, they love it because if they distribute your movie, you just pay them money, and then they take a commission on what they sell. After we finish the movie, then we have some leverage. So once this movie is finished, I'm going to try to sell it to a distribution company or get a guaranteed upfront from a distribution company, and then the answer to that question, where can you see the movie, will be answered.
Okay, then we'll maybe come back on a podcast. We'll talk about where people can see the movie. What are you guys filming that thing with? What are you shooting on?
We shot on Alexas. We shot, I'd say like 80% on Alexas, and then a lot of the pickups we did on an FS700 with a 4K recorder, and then we cut in some 5D footage. And there's a reality show component because he's a reality show bounty hunter.
Right.
So the reality show stuff, we 5D, 7D. Right. So now we've got like this monster of a timeline with like different cameras and all this footage. So when we finish this edit, it's going to take, I don't know how long it's going to take the color corrector to make everything match, but they're going to have their work cut out for them. The sound designer's going to have their work cut out for them. The music guy, like, there's just a ton of work still to be done.
What are you looking at for the running time of the movie to be? Sweet spot, hour and a half.
Hour and a half is a sweet spot. Right now it's about 85 minutes.
Okay.
And I forget exactly what the number is, but if your movie is shorter than like 82 minutes, it falls into a different category. Especially in foreign markets, they don't call it a feature film.
Right.
So keeping it around that 85 is what we're going to try to do.
And these are those little bullshit things that sometimes you learn on the day. Is like, what the fuck? Nobody told me about this. Yeah,
We're having an extra long like final credit sequence.
Yeah, I only sold my house to this motherfucker. Now you're telling me we got to do more shit?
Yeah, right.
Last thing, the season finale of Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network is August 5th. Dude, you're a fitness fanatic. You're looking to do more movies, more acting, some more writing. You can continue your wrestling career. What do you do for hobbies? What do you do for just Johnny Mundo's downtime?
Man, that's a good question. I feel like I fill my downtime with work, and maybe it's just sometimes if you're not doing something, it's hard for me to relax. It's hard for me to turn my brain off. Most of my downtime I fill with either reading scripts, writing scripts, or physical stuff. If it's surfing or parkour or training, that's usually what I do with all my free time.
Okay, you mentioned back in the day you were a little bit of a party animal. Were you just a drinking guy?
Yeah, I mean, when you're on the road with WWE, you're on those Europe tours, and everyone's having some drinks, like talking smack on the bus. That happens too, definitely. I mean, I do a lot of improv shows, like comedy shows, and those are usually in Hollywood somewhere, and we'll go do a show, hang out, and have some beers afterwards, shoot the breeze a little bit. That's how I'd cut loose, I'd say.
So what are you doing? I mean, to do with all the workouts, obviously you're genetically blessed with good genetics,
right?
So you're doing your workouts, so you're able to have a couple of beers and still stay ripped.
For me, the workouts is what keeps me honest, so to speak. Like if I go too far, like maybe I did last night at Jeter's wedding, and I'm sitting here on Stone Cold's podcast with a huge hangover, it's hard for me to.
You hit the hangover pretty well.
I'm gonna go to the gym after this and try to sweat it out, and I'll probably regret having so much fun last night. But on the other hand, I don't know when I'm gonna see those guys again. Some of those guys I might not see for a couple of years. It's really that's my balance. It's all the physical stuff I do when that starts to suffer.
So you will let your hair down every now and then, because I was sitting there thinking, man, this guy's just a fitness machine. He just doesn't. He's got to be able to have fun every now and then. So you do have fun,
right? Okay. You have to.
Yeah, dude, if I don't think I can maintain my sanity. That's living here in L.A.
Exactly.
Dig the weather, but the traffic kills me. And I won't go on a tangent about that.
I've heard the podcast. I know. I know about the traffic.
I told my wife the other day. I got so pent up. I said, you know what? I was driving back, and it was a rush hour traffic. I was coming on a Friday evening, and I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm just, after 11 years, I'm finally able just to deal with the fact that when you're out there in the prime time hours, you're going to get your ass smoked. you might as well try to drive a comfortable ride that has a good sound system in it and just enjoy some fucking music because you're just going to be sitting on the highway with a bunch of other motherfuckers for a long time, and that's the bottom line on LA.
Yeah.
Can't break it down no more than that.
Because of that, like there's been times where like I just don't leave anywhere. Like if I have to travel during rush hour, if I'm at the gym, I'll just stay for an extra hour. Or I'll go somewhere early. I mean, that's the bottom line.
So, we're going to end on that.
Okay.
We'll save the traffic stories for a whole other story when we're drinking beer. Hey, man, I'm talking about Johnny Mundo. Out of all the years we've known each other, we never really sat down and just shot the shit for an in-depth period of time. I appreciate you coming out of the house. I know you were busy. You had a busy weekend hanging out with the guys and everything like that. You got a lot of stuff going on. So thanks for coming by the house. When you get the movie coming out, give me a shout. We'll keep in touch with each other anyway. Now we've got each other's numbers. And once again, Lucha Underground, El Rey Network, season finale, August 5th. And you will get a chance to see what happens, the payoff between El Patron, Alberto Del Rio, and Johnny Mundo. And along with the other cats that are on the show as well. I dig the show. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, gang, if you love to be doing stuff outside, now the summer's here, running, biking, hiking, swimming, whatever it is you like to do, then you know that injuries are part of life, and that goes for the gym rats and weightlifters too. And if you don't want to slow down for ice therapy, then you need to get Arctic Ease and some cold wraps. Folks, you've never experienced anything like Arctic Ease before. It's cold therapy you use while you're still active. Run, bike, lift, and keep your joints and muscles wrapped and cool. Arctic Ease wraps stay in place while giving you similar recovery benefits to ice therapy. And here's the surprising thing. No freezer needed. Arctic Ease wraps fit comfortably under your clothes with no bulky ice. They're reusable too, and they're clinically tested and proven effective. Just put Arctic Ease on and you have targeted instant cold and compression therapy where you need it, before, during, and after exercise. For pain, swelling, and injuries, you can safely use Arctic Ease for instant, long-lasting cold compression therapy even while you're training. You got to try it to believe it. So don't put your training on ice. No. Get reusable Arctic Ease instant cold wraps at CVS Pharmacy and get instant cooling relief where and when you need it. Or visit ArcticEase.com. All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off into the sunset. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go outside and get an old buck, the Kawasaki Mule Pro FXT, and I'm going to ride over that ridge, and I'm going to watch the sun go down, and I'm going to have a swig of water for the working man and the working woman out there. I appreciate you guys in the download button. I'm going to thank you about that a little bit later. But before we go any further, I got the word of the day for you, and that word is Crunchomania. Crunchomania is the word of the day. What the fuck does it mean? Crunchomania was invented on July 14th, 2015 by Steve motherfucking Austin when he was on the set of Broken Skull Challenge. On that day, he said for the next year he will work core every single day, maybe take 2 days off, 5 days a week, committed to working his midsection. If you want to jump in, join in on the ride with me as we crunch our way to fitness, then come on board and join along with me. I'm going to keep talking about this endeavor as we go forward on the podcast. If you want to send me an email saying you have joined the cause for what? The cause to get your ass and my ass in better shape. Send me an email to questions@steveaustonshow.com. Crunchomania is your motherfucking word of the day. And this time, I want to say thank you guys and gals. Hit the download button 2 times a week. You know, I've got the family-friendly show on Tuesdays. And the Thursdays is off damn rails. If you're digging what you hear, tell a couple of people about it. And tell them to tell all their friends. The word-of-mouth advertising up in this motherfucker, that's how I roll. And, hey, folks, I appreciate all the support that you've been giving us by using the Amazon links. If you want to help support the show, because this sumbitch is free, it don't cost a goddamn thing. If you want to help out by supporting all the great sponsors of the Steve Austin Show and by linking to Amazon through the Support Our Show sponsors banner at podcast1.com, every time you do your shopping, we've got Amazon links for Canada, the UK, and the United States. Just go to podcast1.com, click the Support Our Show sponsors banner, and then click on the Steve Austin Show. All my great sponsors are there. All my Amazon links are there too. Amazon kicks back a few bucks to the show every time you use one of those links. You ain't got to buy anything special. There's no extra charges, no hidden fees. Whatever you're planning on buying, buy it. And Amazon will give a small percentage back to the show to help cover production costs. Other than that, I ain't asking for a goddamn thing. If you use Amazon, if you want to help a brother out, that's the way to do it. Other than that, this podcast is free. Bookmark the sumbitch so you can find the goddamn thing a little bit easier. Hey, folks, like I said earlier, I've been flapping my goddamn gums about these new T-shirts. We're going to release this T-shirt on Thursday, July 16th on BrokenSkullRanch.com and ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin. Folks, with that being said, my name is Steve motherfucking Austin. I'm about to get on my damn mule and take me a ride into the sunset, and that is a shoot. And until next time, I will catch your ass down the road.
Download new episodes of Steve Austin Unleashed every Thursday at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com. Musicians, it's Guitar Center's July clearance. Save huge on over $20 million in clearance inventory. Leftover special buys, demos, open box, warehouse finds, and more. Incredible price drops store-wide. $8 million in markdowns on guitars, amps, drums, keyboards, and tech. Over 300,000 items marked down. Massive savings on brands like Fender, Gibson, Yamaha, DW, Korg, Shure, and more. But remember, each location and GuitarCenter.com has its own selection, and it's first come, first served. Guitar Center's July clearance kicks off now.
Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this.
Does driving matter to you? I love driving. You love driving? You passionate about it? You know, there's over 4 million miles of road in the U.S. Lots of highways, freeways, wrong ways, long ways. It's all there, all waiting to be driven. So do you take the left turn at Albuquerque or just keep going, baby? You wake up early Sunday morning for a drive before traffic comes in? Do you take a long, winding road home? If driving matters to you, then I love me some driving. Just get out and drive because driving matters. Mazda.
AP update. I'm Ross.
There were 5 people shot, 2 deceased, and another man was beaten.
A manhunt in Maine ended today when state police say a suspect was taken into custody without
We
incident.
showed up at a relative's house, and my understanding is that the relative contacted the police. We had teams in that immediate area. The state police and sheriff's department did searching for him, and they responded quickly to that residence and took him into custody.
Lieutenant Sean Hussey of the Maine State Police says the shooting rampage began when a barn was torched last night.
25 minutes after that, there was a call from the residents where the barn had been burnt the previous evening. And that's where the man and woman were shot.
Police, though, don't have a motive yet in the shootings.
Everything that's happened in a very short amount of time, and we know a lot, but there's a lot of questions to be answered still, so that's one of them.
AP update. I'm Ross Simpson.